Hey guys, it's kind of a focus group meet and greet tonight. Since we launched Freetisimo, we've had engagement on social media with our subscribers, and we've really started to build a community. But one thing that we haven't done was bring that community together in a real physical location. So tonight I've invited some subscribers, some business owners that are on Freetisimo, and just members of the community to get together and have a dialogue about sharing. What we want to do is obviously support businesses that share and give back. So thanks for coming, guys, and let's have a nice evening.
There's some of you that don't know the story of how Freetisimo came to be. You guys probably know exactly how it kind of came about. So Tony and I have a lot of experience, like 30 plus years combined, we're not that old, of corporate marketing and sales experience. And actually, when we moved to Texas, he launched a company called Video Something. And Video Something was basically an online video directory for small businesses. So I helped him with that business, and what we found out was, gosh, small businesses have it really, really hard, right? Both of us came from large corporations where when we needed stuff, we needed swag, this, that, whatever, call marketing department, they've got all kinds of stuff. It was that easy, right? So when we started dealing with small businesses, we found that was a big need, right? They just didn't have the money for it. So we knew that we wanted to help small businesses. We didn't know how we were going to do it, but we did this business out there, grew it to 3 different cities in Texas, and then we moved back home. For necessity's sake, whatnot, Tony went back to a corporate job, and one day he comes in from the backyard. He likes to hang out in the backyard. If you notice, he likes to really landscape and whatnot back there. And he woke me up, I think it was like midnight or something, and he woke me up, he's like, hey, what if there was like a place for free stuff? And I'm like, what, free stuff? Listen, this is the one that Googles, like, what do I get for my birthday for free, right, on my birthday, you know? So anyways, I woke up and I'm like, free stuff, that's cool, I like it, what do you mean, right? And it totally evolved, right? It was kind of just like, hey, free stuff, how do we get small businesses involved? Because our passion is to help them, because we saw the need. I came from an immigrant family where my mom was a seamstress, had her own business. My dad had a music store, his own business. I was selling stuff when I was in high school, just making money, right? Hustling it, right? All these side hustles. So for him to have an idea, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, we can do something. I mean, we did a business before, why can't we do something again? And we can capitalize on everything that we learned from the previous time, right? All the things that we didn't do right, all the things that we wish we would have done better, and that's just how you learn, right? So it kind of just, we kept talking about it for a couple months and started doing research and whatnot, and eventually he quit his corporate job, and we're like, okay, well, you don't have a job now, so we need to make Freetisimo, we need to make it happen, right? So it was a whole launch up period, and we had a focus group like this, like a year and something ago before we launched, with people going, hey, this is the idea, would you use it, would you like, this is before the site was even done. It was just like, hey, what would people think about it? So it was born, we did a lot of interesting things to get it to where it needed to be. I don't know if some of you know that we did get a small investment last December from a private investor to help us along the process as well. But really, the passion is to help small local businesses give back to the community and really have people collaborate and work together. I think that time has gone away where, back in the day where there's like the general store and everybody kind of knew each other, right? Now it's like you don't talk to your neighbors, it seems like, right? So we're really trying to get back to where people share with each other and just talk again. So that's kind of like how it got started. Did I ramble on? Or was it good?
No, it's all good.
Okay. I didn't practice all that. But anyhow, that's how Freetisimo got started. Tony and I have been on an amazing journey. We've had a lot of support. Really, we're in this business to help. And great, if we can support our family on it eventually, that's fantastic. But what drives us is not that piece of it. The piece of it is, how do we get small businesses and people connected, and then bring in those large sponsors. So I'm going to let Tony talk a little bit about what we mean by our big vision with Freetisimo. Many of you may not know what the big vision is and how we really want to grow it, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to kind of bring you here to kind of explain how we're going to do that, why we need everybody's help, because it can't be Tony and I and our best buddies out there going, yeah, it's Freetisimo. It can't be that. People have to know that it's free stuff, cool, check it out. There's discounts, but it's beyond that. It really is beyond that. It's about supporting your local community, and we'll kind of explain how we can together do that.
All right.
Is that good?
Yes.
Cool. Now.
First, I love this woman so much because she has California, Northern California, San Diego County, and this one really large dairy he worked at, they had we lived on the premises because he had to work these double shifts. And this dairy had a dormitory, and the dormitory had probably about 25 to 30 undocumented laborers, guys that would live there. Well, one of the guys came to me one day and he said, "Hey, I know that your mom goes into town. Well, we don't like going into town because we're kind of concerned that the Border Patrol is going to pick us up. So would you ask her to buy us some beer?" And I was like, "Oh, all right, yeah, sure." So I asked my mom and she's like, "Well, if I'm going to buy them beer, I mean, let's make it worth our while." So then we would buy, let's say, a 12-pack for $5, and then I would sell it to them for 10. And before I knew it, I started to sell them Marlboro Red cigarettes, Coca-Cola, 12-pack cases of Budweiser.
How old were you?
I was 9 years old at the time. And where it really got interesting is that I actually started doing check cashing. So I would ask my father to pull money out of our savings account, and I, as a 9 or a 10-year-old, would go around and I would cash their bi-weekly checks, and I would charge them $5. So imagine a 9 or a 10-year-old walking around with like 2 or 3 grand in his pocket, like dealing with these guys and having them sign over their checks. This is like probably where my entrepreneur spirit began, because when I would go home and have $50 or $100 to share with my family, I was like, holy cow, you can make money doing this. And I really started to understand what I was doing was providing a service for people that otherwise wouldn't be able to have a service.
Illegal, but a service nonetheless.
I didn't pay taxes,
Right?
and it was kind of crazy. Like at 2 o'clock in the morning, these guys would be drunk knocking on our door and stuff, and I'd be like, "Tony, go do your job." I'm like, "I hate this job." So that was the start of it. So Lucia kind of mentioned that we moved to Austin. We had that experience, and it really woke us up to the fact that things are changing and fast in our communities. And I really think that I've always had kind of a nose and an eye for what is happening in sales and marketing. So this is really the Freetisimo story. But before I get into that, I tell this story all the time because it makes sense to what's happening right now. And I know you guys all have hustles and side hustles. So and I'm a historian a little bit. So back in 1921, there was this guy named Harold Arden. And what he was a commentator or announcer for the Phillies, the baseball organization. And so what he did was he called baseball games, and at that time, all of the baseball teams were really centered around the downtown area of cities. And what he did one day is he was also a radio personality. He decided to broadcast a game on the radio, which was not allowed, because the baseball owners thought that if we're going to broadcast a baseball game for free to the community, nobody would ever show up to any of the games. It just made sense. And at that time, they made all of their money off of concessions and ticket sales and that type of thing, right? So what happened was Harold went ahead and did it anyhow. And the baseball owners found out, and they put an end to it immediately. And they said, don't ever do that again. So even though radio had been around for 20 plus years, it was not part of the baseball way of making money until 1935, when all of the baseball teams were really struggling to keep their doors open. They just weren't making enough money. It was the Depression, all these things. Well, one of the baseball owners said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to start broadcasting these games for free. And what ended up happening was people from the surrounding communities started to become fans of baseball. And so the demand for people coming to these baseball games skyrocketed. But also, baseball was then able to supplement the revenue that they had normally been just concessions and ticket sales to now advertising. And so what seemed like a complete, no way would we broadcast a game for free, turned out to be the #1 way of baseball generating revenue, to a point today where 70% of baseball revenues comes from advertising. You know, we have a situation today where, you guys know who Bryce Harper is? He's a really good player, and he is negotiating an agreement right now, or a contract, for $400 million to play baseball. Now, he's a really good player, but $400 million. This is just kind of to show you guys that the demand for our attention is so huge that advertisers are willing to pay these types of salaries to capture our attention. You know, I use the analogy all the time, or the example, that Kim Kardashian earns $50 million a year, you know, selling products and services and on Instagram, on her television program. So these are the types of things that are taking place. There's this huge market for this. So imagine if radio or television had never been created or invented. Baseball would simply be an entertainment type of business. Now, baseball is an advertising business, right? And really what we're trying to do with Freetisimo, do you get the marketing kit? It's in there. What we're trying to do with Freetisimo is we're trying to give the small business owner a platform similar to radio, similar to television, where they can share a set amount of free goods and services. And so this past year, we received over 30,000 visitors to Freetisimo, and they stayed on the site on average about 4 minutes and 42 seconds. And I know that seems like, okay, that's not that much time. But what these people were looking at was advertisements, right? For the first time, our platform is about learning about local businesses, but we also kind of answer the #1 rule in sales, which is, what's in it for me? Most people aren't going to do something unless they feel like there's a benefit to them. And so really, that's what we're striving to do, is to create that awareness among people in our community that what we can do is create this platform that gets people's attention, and then we can have larger advertisers sponsor those people. So
we didn't practice this part because I don't know where to put it.
it's in the black folder.
In the black
And,
folder?
the binder?
You'll take it with you? In the car?
It might be.
We can edit that all this part out.
Okay. No. So what we've done is, yeah, we've put together a platform, and we did get enough visitors to help these small local businesses. But to be able to scale this business, we need to have a community that is aware of what our goals are. So this past year, just so you guys know, we're trying to be completely transparent. I was selling accounts on average of about $350 to $500 a year for any small businesses that wanted to promote on Freetisimo. And I was using that money to do social media marketing, some print marketing, community events. And so what I was doing was getting their names out. But what was kind of the problem was I did hustle, let's say Lucia and I did this, 200 businesses. But what we were running into is that when you're a small business, there's always, you know, perhaps cash flow problems where all of a sudden you sign an agreement and then 6 months from now, you don't have enough revenue to be able to pay for these types of things. So we were running into that. And so consequently, we would lose accounts. Some people said, well, I didn't see the results I wanted. So what we decided to do over the last 6 weeks is we're no longer charging businesses. We're offering our service completely for free for all small businesses. And the reason why we're doing that is that we really want to grow this community much, much bigger than what it is right now. And when we do that, we could then, what we're negotiating with City of Moreno Valley and other larger advertisers is for them to sponsor Freetisimo. But what our goal is to get the larger advertisers to sponsor the small mom and pop business. So I use this example all the time. Can you imagine Geico sponsoring 50 free oil changes or brake services? Now Geico has an opportunity to build a relationship with the business owner and directly impact you, the people that use Freetisimo. And more than anything, it would give that business owner a new revenue stream. So if you're selling vegan products, what other businesses are interested in your type of customer? There's a million other businesses that want to reach the vegan market. So here's an opportunity for them to sponsor your goods and services, and now they can build a relationship with you. Though it's unlimited, the types of what I call collaboration opportunities for people out there. And Lucia was just bringing this. So a few months ago, I went to the 66ers baseball field, and one of their marketing people was showing me exactly the types of things that you could do as a business to sponsor the 66ers. And so they give you kind of a menu. They give you how many people show up to the games, but they also give you a menu. If you want to get a banner or on the back outfield, it's $7,000 a year. If you want to get your business name on top of a dugout, that's another. If you want to be sponsored the 7th inning stretch, they have 100 different ways that you could potentially sponsor or be an advertiser at those games. The thing that I think is kind of the elephant in the room is that most people go to baseball games to watch the baseball game, right? And that has been the history of marketing, is that let's create something that has massive appeal to people and then just kind of throw advertisements in there, right? When you watch the Super Bowl, that might be the only time you actually watch some of the commercials. But most of the time, a billboard or a commercial is simply a distraction or an interruption in your life. And that's what we want to try to change. We're saying, you know what, advertisers? We will actually pay attention to your message, but you're gonna have to do something for our community, and that is support and sponsor the local businesses within this community. And then things that just is a really big idea. And the only way that that's gonna take place, and Lucia and I recognize this, and this is why we're having these types of meetings, is for people in our community to recognize that vision. Because if we get 30,000 people last year and so many per month, if we just doubled that and all of a sudden we had 5,000 people per week, per month, that would change our complete business. And now we could approach those businesses and say, this is the menu of small businesses that you can sponsor. How many vegan products would you like to purchase from ABC Business? How many silkscreen, programs or offers would you like to offer the community? When I even think about the amount of opportunities for businesses to create this and make this happen, it just boggles my mind because it's unlimited.
I'll take that a step further because Tony always says this. So you get that, right? Where it's large corporations sponsor the right type of business to get to the end user, right? That's where the oil change down to the person who has a car, right? So he always says this. He's like, just like Airbnb and Uber kind of created income, right? For these people that, can have a space in their house. You can rent it out, make some money, supplement their income, right? He brings it up because he knows that, I'm crafty, there's musicians in my family. He's like, what if, my dad's a professional pianist. What if someone that's awesome at piano that could totally give lessons can be sponsored to give free piano lessons by, a maker of a piano, or Fender sponsoring free guitar lessons, right? And that person now can do something he loves. It gives me goosebumps. Look at that. Can actually, give free guitar lessons, right? And make some money off of it because Fender's going to be paying this guy whatever his guitar lessons cost, and he gives them away on Freetisimo. And then he's building his business because now people go, oh, I got that free, but now I want to continue my lessons because I know it can't be free forever. But now they're creating an interest, right? So taking it to that level would be amazing because then there'd be individuals that can really do the thing that they love. Can everybody always do their passion, their thing that they love and make a living? Not always, right? But if they can do something still on the side and, and get out to the community and give back and also reap a benefit, why the heck not, right? So that's kind of like, another cool way that would be awesome to help our community. So.
So I think that there's so many ways that the community can be a part of this. You know, when Lucia and I were putting this together, we were like, oh, do we give you guys a survey or anything like that? I think it's really quite simple. That the way that we're gonna grow this business, I don't even want to call it a business, because truly, I love the word, it's a sharing movement. It's to change people's perspective and their mindset on this. A lot of people say, yeah, let's support local business, but there's not really a way to do it that's kind of easy. You know, everything, if you go to a business, there's no connection there. I think what Freetisimo does is that there's a common thread, a connector that everybody can recognize that we're doing. So the first way is to share this with your own friends and family and simply say, this is just an idea that can really help our community. The second way is, if you know of any businesses that are trying to get some promotion. We get thousands of business or visitors per month to the platform, and we have thousands of subscribers. We send out a newsletter, you guys know. And so it's a great way to get the name out, their name out on the business. And the third is just, I say cooperation or collaboration. We never know when an opportunity to help the other businesses, and it's just keeping an eye out for those businesses whenever possible. Part of the goal on networking and referrals is to develop a relationship so that you could easily refer another person or another business. You have anything you'd like to add? So I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you guys have any questions on what we're doing or any suggestions,
yes,
we're really...
Suggestions would be great. So you guys know we have an app, right? Have you all downloaded it? Did you realize this? Did you realize this? Exactly. Yeah. So we need to, it came way later, it recently came. So please download the app. We'd love to get some feedback on it. I mean, this is really our MVP, we call it, right? Which is the first version of our website, the first version of our apps. But really, we need users to kind of tell us, hey, it would be cool if you did this or if you did that. So keep that in mind.
There's limitations, unfortunately. Yes, Yandra.
So I got a question for you.
Yes.
So one of the things I ask people in person is it my job to make you hear me, or is it your job to listen? Right? Because it's two different things. So with that thought in mind, with Freetisimo, how do you make the potential users desire you?
That's a big question.
Why not marketing the actual product that you're trying to give away instead of marketing the business? And then as soon as you get the product and market that, and then people are going to say, oh, look, there's that, then they're attracted by that.
I would say that 80% of the marketing we do is to market the products and services that are on Freetisimo. The big hurdle that we come across all the time is that people think there's a catch.
Yeah. They're going to get 50,000 emails from all these businesses, right? Yeah. That's one of the, so when we advertise on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, people see it. Tony ran into a lady, we had a booth somewhere, is that what it was?
Yes.
And she's like, oh, I see you post on what's going on in whatever city, but I wasn't sure what the deal was with. I thought it was like, not real. And then she signed up. She saw him and talked to him like, oh, it really is.
So we had that lady and I had a real discussion about this. And I love being able to educate people on what we're doing. And I tell people this all the time. Attention is a real currency. And when you're exchanging your time and attention to learn about ABC company, XYZ company, that is something of considerable value to them. Where we need to bridge and make more of a connection is to say, those businesses are willing to share with our community without any guarantee that they're going to get anything in return. Let's continue this to grow that part of our community, because truly, right now, there's tens of millions of dollars that leave our community because we're unable to find a way to communicate our goods, our message to other people. And the ways that happens is through Yelp, Groupon, Google, all of these other platforms that aren't in our community. They're quite expensive, and that money just goes, and it's not coming back. And right now, more than any, I'm a member of the Riverside Chamber, and I mean, we listened to presentations from the Feeding America, Habitat for Humanity. There's a lot of people in our community that can definitely use a boost and a help. So.
If you notice, there's a huge shift in marketing, right? So you'll be on YouTube, right? Oh, I want to watch this video. I have to wait 5 seconds, right? You kind of go, wait, click, right, off of the advertisement. Now they got you in the middle of the video. You got to watch the whole thing, right? Well, now even on TV, you'll have the Helpful Honda guys. I'm sure the Toyota, Helpful Honda, you've heard of those guys, right? Where they do good deeds for the community. My good friend is a principal at the school, and he was featured on the commercial where he got brand new school uniforms for my team, right? So if you notice, those big corporations are trying to reach and find other ways to get to people because the stuff that they currently do isn't working the way it used to work. So we look at it as if we grow this platform with enough users, we can get their attention to go, oh, this is another way. And guess what? People will actually pay attention to the fact that Honda sponsored such and such on Freetisimo because people are coming to the site okay with that because you're looking at business because there's something in it for us now, right? Opportunity for something for free and even a discount.
Before I forget, so I mentioned that Julie is so we do networking and with T&V Printing, this guy Vince, and she met him through the offer of 1,000 business cards for free. And he's done, I don't know how many different projects for her over the last year. And so I saw him yesterday because he also created our newest brochure. And he's like, would you mind handing this off to Julie? So Julie, by the way, don't leave without this. And that is, when I see these types of connections being made, I'm like so thankful, first of all, that she considers him as an option. Most people right now, I don't know if they consider the businesses on Freetisimo as like an option to use. They're like, if I get it for free, that'd be great. If not, then it's not, it's no big deal. But I would like to start changing people's mindset and saying, maybe these businesses are also an opportunity to get to know them. And really, today, the lasagna that we had was from Joe's Italian, another business that's on Freetisimo. And if just in our little circle here, people would come and do that and say, hey, thanks for sharing and giving back to our community. This is what I'm talking about, actually creating a sharing movement that makes business sense. And I think that that's kind of what has gone out the window really with, this week or last week, Snapchat went public. There's a company that was like 3.5, 4 years old that is now worth like 18, 20 billion dollars. They have a market value more than Best Buy, Ferrari, and all these companies that have been around for 100 years. And really what's taken place is that anything that gets people's attention is so incredibly valuable. And what we're saying is that let's give the small mom and pop business an opportunity to be a part of this $200 billion industry. And if we somehow can communicate that message to our community and we get enough people that are consciously aware of what our goals are, we can make that happen. You know what? The platform we have right now is good enough to build this community out, but eventually we want to upgrade all of that stuff. And I'm working with an investor in the future, but we got to hit certain milestones. So, that is why we invited you guys to here tonight, is so that you guys can have a little background on what our goals are with Freetisimo, to get some feedback from you guys, and for you guys to hopefully be a part of this journey, because that's really what it is this started with, 12 midnight, an idea, but really what's keeping me going is the fact that I am so incredibly thankful for the fact that we've given out 9,000 free offers. Have all of them been redeemed? No, but the fact is that when they are, and people then comment and say, you know what, my wife is pregnant right now, we haven't gone out to a family dinner for so long, and we took advantage of that, and afterwards we went out to a movie, this saved us. And I'm thinking to myself, That, I didn't get my first bed until I was 12 years of age. Sometimes little things make a huge difference in people's lives. And if I could be a part of that in making a big difference in the lives of business owners, of people in our community, then I want to do everything I possibly can to make that happen. I think that Freetisimo is a platform in a way that everybody wins. The business owners win, we win, the community wins, and the sponsors wins. And it's called a non-zero sum solution. Essentially, everybody wins.